Hey guys, this is Marcel with GL, and today we're going to go over our nail technology practical state board exam kit. Now before we dive into this, I just want to get into a quick disclaimer about the contents of our test kit. Our kits are designed as a suggested set of supplies you might need for your practical examination. However, it does not include a mannequin head, a holder, a mannequin hand, curling iron, a blow dryer, or a storage container. Now be sure you purchase those items separately before your test. It's super important to remember that each candidate is responsible for what supplies to bring, how to organize them, and how to use them during the practical test. This is a great starting point, but ultimately it's up to you to ensure that you have everything you need. Also, exam requirements can change, so I always recommend checking the latest candidate information bulletin to stay up to date and fully prepared. All right, let's get into the unboxing. Now, before we get started, let me just say a few things about national standards or testing agencies. In the US, as the making of this video, there are two national agencies, NIC and PSI National. Now, either one of these will be covering your state for the practical exam test, but as far as nail technology is concerned, most of the states are fairly identical with very few exceptions. So just refer to your candidate information bulletin just to make sure which tasks are required for your particular state. Now let's get started. Now the way we organize our kits is by task. So your practical exam will be separated into several tasks. You're going to notice that we do have one that's called general supplies. This is not a task in the exam, rather will be used for your client setups, and it will include your disinfectant wipes, all that good stuff. As of 2020, I think all the states now require EPA registered disinfectant wipes, and we do include a pack of 60 of those in each of our kits. And you're going to have all your labeled bags and so forth to get prepared.
Hi everyone, this is Emily behind the camera. So I'm going to cover all of the individual items that are in each bag just so you can kind of get the big picture here. So for the general supplies bag, that will include 1 white salon towel, hand sanitizer, 3 paper bags labeled items to be disinfected, trash, and soiled linens, an empty tipped applicator bottle labeled water, EPA registered germicidal disinfectant wipes, 24 paper towels, and 6 disposable gloves.
So the first task in the test is manicure and nail polish application. This has everything that you need, and it also has nail polish. In some cases you may not be required to do the nail polish application, but most cases you are, but it's there just in case you need it.
Next we have the manicure and polish application. Those supplies will include a manicure soak bowl, a double-sided nail file, a buffing block, a reclosable bag labeled cotton that contains nail wipes and cotton-tipped applicators, a cuticle pusher and trimmer tool, a manicure brush, a white towel, Cosmock simulated massage cream, and for your Gleam Labs products, you'll have a cuticle softener, cuticle oil, base coat nail lacquer, top coat nail lacquer, classic red nail lacquer, and then nail polish remover.
Next we have the nail application and blending task.
Those supplies include a reclosable bag labeled nail glue and tips that include 20 assorted nail tips and Gleam Labs nail glue, another reclosable bag labeled pre-sanitized implements which include 2 orange wood sticks, 3 cotton-tipped applicators, a nail clipper, double-sided nail file, and a buffing block, and then another reclosable bag labeled nail wipes, and then you'll have a white towel and a simulated nail dehydrator.
Next we have the sculptured nail task. As with the mannequin polish, you're going to need a mannequin hand to perform this task, and the hand is sold separately, so you just need to make sure you get one hand as well.
Next we have sculptured nail. Those supplies include a flat acrylic nail brush, a plastic dapping dish, a glass dapping dish, a white towel, a reclosable bag labeled nail forms, glue/tips, including 3 nail forms, 20 assorted nail tips, and Gleam Labs nail glue, another bag labeled pre-sanitized implements which include a manicure brush, cuticle pusher and trimmer, 2 orange wood sticks, a buffing block, 2 nail files, 3 cotton-tipped applicators, and a nail clipper, another reclosable bag labeled nail wipes that include 20 lint-free nail wipes, and then a sealed bag including all Gleam Labs products, which include a sealed odorless liquid monomer, acid-free nail primer, antiseptic spray, clear acrylic nail powder, and cuticle oil.
Next we have removal of sculpture nail, which just follows the sculpture nail task, and it's going to have your acetone, everything you need to perform this task.
Next we have removal of sculpture nail. Those supplies will include foil removal wraps, cotton balls, Gleam Labs acetone, 3 wooden disposable cuticle pushers, a nail buffing block, and a white towel.
Finally, we have the first aid kit. This also includes the supplies you need for your blood exposure procedure. Blood exposure may not be required by PSI National. Again, check your CIB to make sure. This comes sealed, but it has all you need for your blood exposure task, as well as a first aid kit.
Next, we have the first aid kit, which should be readily accessible during all of your tasks and also is used for the blood exposure procedure. Those supplies include 4 disposable gloves, a paper bag labeled trash, 2 reclosable plastic bags labeled blood exposure, a sealed and reclosable bag labeled mini first aid kit, which contain flex fabric bandages, shear bandages, antibiotic ointment, alcohol swabs, cleansing towelettes, and waterproof bandages. And so all of these will be supplied in a sealed box.
Now, before we finish, I'd like to give you a couple of pro tips.
Pro tips with Marcel.
First of all, it's very important to get familiar with your test kit. We're going to be sending a checklist with our kit so you can make sure that everything is included, nothing is missing. But also it allows you to go through each bag and get familiar with what's inside of them. I would suggest you do that before your test day for obvious reasons, but it's very important. Before testing day, you're going to need to make sure you are prepared with everything you need. There might be some additional items that are not in the kit that you will need. For example, you will need a mannequin hand, and I did mention that earlier, so you make sure you have that. If the nail tips needs to be glued on the hand beforehand, you may want to do that ahead of time. You're going to also need to glue tips on your nail application tips and blending, and that task bag will include a little glue tube like that. So you're going to need something to open this, usually a small pin or needle. You may want to bring that with you so that you have something to open that during the test. The other thing that you need to be familiar with is the odorless monomer. If you went through school, you're going to be trained on using that type of product, but if not, or if you have been doing nails professionally and are transferring to a different state, for example, an odorless product is a little bit particular to work with. You may want to practice ahead of time just so that you know how it works. Essentially, the curing time is a little bit different, so the ratio of liquid to powder is important to get right so that the nail will cure in a short amount of time. Finally, this little guy, the odorless bottle, is sealed from factory and it needs to remain sealed. Your proctor will inspect the bottle before the test. If it's not sealed, they're not going to let you test. And by the way, we do have a tutorial. It's going to be somewhere up here. You can click. It's going to show you how to use that product. One other thing is you may need to bring water, and you will be allowed to bring a water container to your test day. Another thing that's important, your candidate information bulletin. It's quite thick, a lot of pages. You need to read it. You don't have to memorize everything, but read it. Read it. Read it. Before your test day. You're not going to be allowed to bring it with you. It's important you are familiar with that. It's going to describe the test process step by step, minute by minute almost, so it's a good thing to go through that before your big day. So finally, I always recommend you seek professional help with an instructor before your test day. Now, if you went through nail technology through a beauty school or academy, you will most likely have been prepared for your practical test. If not, it's always very good to find someone to help you prepare for that day. You're going to be stressed a lot. They make it almost on purpose to stress you out, so it's important to get as much knowledge ahead of time as you can. Now, if you like our videos, please click subscribe, like, share it. It's going to be a great help for us. And again, thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of luck on your test day.